Okay. It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk to a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just go to a limousine or just go to jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common other than the fact that none of us are actually in a bar, all isolated in our own homes in various parts of New Orleans. And also, Joshua Summy is here, who used to live in New Orleans and currently lives in San Antonio. Joshua, welcome back to Happy Hour.
Hey, thanks, man. This is the pro in the list of cons.
This is the good thing about being kicked out of a bar is that we get to at least be in touch with you, who've been gone for ages. Andrew Duhon is back here, of course. Hey, Andrew, how you been this week?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna go with good.
I see that you actually, now I'm looking at you again. I see you have trimmed your beard a little bit.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm feeling slightly cleaner. But
how did you do it, with the scissors or with a trimmer?
I've been trusting the scissors. Is what you do is you take the follicle and get about as much as you want to trim, and then take that back just a little bit because that's too much. You know.
Okay.
Start slow.
Are you finding that it's more difficult to do one side than the other?
Yeah, a little bit.
It is for me.
I find it harder. Jonathan Freilich is here. He just dropped in from our Facebook Live feed. Jonathan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You're the only person I've ever seen who's got a Post-it note on the ceiling.
Oh yeah. You know, because I'm sitting here by my desk and I got to remember stuff that I'm working on. I slap the Post-its up here because it's angled. It's really very perfect system. And then I can.
This is a cute looking little room. It's like a little dormer.
It's like I have a loft above the main room, and then there's what I call the loft beyond the loft, where it all really happens. Over there's a second slightly.
So you have a sort of a metal loft.
Yeah, I have a metal loft. Metal loft is where I am.
That's very nice. Okay, very good. And Andrew Searock is here, our digital producer as well.
What's up?
Your beard is looking the woolliest of everybody's.
Yeah, honestly, my mustache has started getting in my mouth at, all points during the day, and I'm not sure what to do with it. I don't know what the protocol on trimming.
Favor the flavor, brother.
I just trim the ones that are in my mouth. That's what I do.
Yeah, you can cut that with a pair of scissors or
you can just chew on them and they'll go away.
Or get the beard wax and start just like growing it out and having.
Yeah. What sort of style is that?
This is the voice of Tracy Carlson you're listening to, who's another guest of ours here today. Tracy, how are you doing? Where are you in New Orleans?
I am in my living room.
Now, you have a very interesting job, like work from home type job, because you're a sex therapist.
Yes.
Huh.
So I'm actually a licensed psychologist and then a certified sex therapist. So I have.
How does that work on work from home day?
So I have an office that I see clients. Used to see them face to face, but now I do over online sessions with them now until we can see each other again in the office.
We've had a lot of talk about sexual therapy on this show already.
Do tell.
Well, we had a show where Andrew wanted to do a show of hands for everybody who's actually masturbating while we're on this call.
Without context, it's truly incriminating. But
my hands are up here.
I can assure you.
That was a fair summary of the conversation.
That might be some illegal territory that you get into.
Which is where the conversation started, by the way. So, that was reasonable.
We were talking about it. Well, we were talking to somebody who got arrested. He claims he didn't actually get arrested for in the back of an Uber.
Allegedly.
As a sex therapist, what's your position on that? No pun intended.
No pun. Well, so I work with all sorts of sexual concerns for individuals and couples, and so what you're talking about, there's more like sex offending, so like people who are engaging in behaviors that are not consensual and are violating other people's space and
that was the most diplomatic way I've ever heard.
Yep. So
kudos.
That's sex offending. So yeah.
Right. What do people mostly come to a sex therapist for? Well, also no pun intended, by the way.
Right. Anything and everything. I've seen it all pretty much.
That's another good expression.
Yeah.
What is the most common though? Is there like, what most people go to the doctor because they have a sore throat, say?
Yeah.
What do most people go to the sex therapist for?
What I've seen in my practice so far is mostly men who are experiencing problems with erectile functioning. And then next I'll have couples that are calling me up because there's some mismatch of libido and there's a concern about how often the couple's having sex or loss of interest.
That's pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
Guys want to do it all the time and women don't want to do it at all.
Not always.
Is that just a stereotypical mistake?
It's pretty stereotypical.
Mistake.
But that's often what I see.
So it's typical and stereotypical.
Mm-hmm. It all depends. That's my answer. Anytime you talk to a psychologist, the answer is always going to be, it depends.
Right. So there's not like a common thread of, because it must be pretty hard to go to a sex therapist, don't you think? Let me introduce Kimmy Holmes first, talking of sex therapy. Kimmy, I'm sorry, I completely was fixated on sex therapy there for a minute. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You've got a very exotic looking. Is this your house?
Yes.
Man, this place looks nice. Where are you? What part of town are you in?
I'm on Carondelet near Lee Circle.
Okay, down by Lee Circle.
What kind of warehouse
called?
district?
Is that called Central City?
Yes.
So that used to be like the killing fields down there.
Not anymore.
Oh, now it's fancy.
Exactly.
It's very nice. How long have you lived there? Did you live there before? Did you live there before it was okay?
No, I lived on the West Bank, and as my kids got older and I needed less space, we downsized to a condo downtown, warehouse district area.
You got rid of the kids.
I've been trying. I'll take them. Almost.
Did they move with you, or did you leave them on the West Bank?
No, they're here, but they're doing Zoom workouts right now with their coaches, so they won't bother me for an hour.
They're doing a Zoom workout.
Yes.
So you can have two people on Zoom at the same time in your apartment.
They are on their own. No, they are on their own Zoom accounts doing their own workouts with their coaches.
Right, but in the same house, and you can't hear a thing.
Yes. Yeah, we have 3 different ones going at the same time.
Wow.
When are we ever going to get out of this?
How old are your kids?
15 and 17. They just had birthdays about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So is one of them a graduating senior and doesn't get to do like prom and walking and all that stuff? Oh,
no, thankfully they are freshmen and juniors this year. So
Yes,
I'm glad I don't have to go through the disappointment of that.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, I got expelled from high school and missed my prom and
Hang on,
graduation.
What did you say? You got expelled from high school?
I did, yeah.
What did you
The
do?
question
Right
is,
on.
why did you get expelled?
I got expelled because I went to a Catholic school, and on Holy Thursday, we were supposed to be doing Stations of the Cross, and instead, my friend and I got super de-duper high, and they were quite aware of it.
Super doobie duper.
Well put. And they found our car and found all of the accoutrement that you need to get super de-duper high.
Wow.
I decided that it was time for me to leave school.
That's like a month before graduation.
Yeah, it was like 5 weeks beforehand.
Right.
It
That's
was
crazy.
not good. Let's put it that way.
Darn.
Yeah.
Holy shit! And what drugs were you doing?
In high school, well, on that day I was only smoking pot. Let's put it that way. I was. It was very low key day
On that
for
day.
me when I was 18.
It was
right.
Holy Thursday.
Would you still get kicked out of school for smoking pot today, like that?
No.
Maybe.
I think I was in high school the latest or most recently here. The answer is no.
Okay.
I just
Good
got suspended.
to
Didn't get-
I don't know, man. Like this was in Alabama where you couldn't even smoke cigarettes until you were 19 at the time. So that was even
Wow.
that was one of the things that was launched against me when they ransacked the car, is that they found like cigarettes and lighters, and those were illegal substances for me to be owning in the first place. So
Yeah,
it
I
was
don't
like multiple shots against me.
I don't think you can freebase cocaine till 25 in Alabama. Too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Jimmy, how are your kids taking the whole quarantine thing? Are they doing it, or are they sneaking out to go to parties?
Oh no, they don't sneak out. I mean,
To your
they
knowledge.
birthdays in quarantine.
I was about to say,
so
she said that with a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
no one's sneaking out. I mean, with the cameras and the alarm chirping going on, there'll be people sneaking out of the house. Actually, they're pretty good with it. Like I said, they work out every day, so that's not much of an issue. And they said as long as they had their computers, Netflix and Hulu, they were fine.
What
And
about you? What are you working from home?
I've been working from home. Someone in our office was positive, so we've been working from home since March 9th.
Wow.
Oh.
And you work down in is it Medicare?
Yeah, I work in the federal courthouse. So the Hale Boggs building we've been out since
The Hale Boggs building. So one person gets sick in the Hale Boggs building and everybody goes home.
Yes.
Well, that's excellent.
And they're thinking now they're saying the courts themselves probably won't open back until August 1st.
Wow.
What happens if you have a court case pending? Suppose you're, remanded in custody or something.
Well, ask Ray Nagin, you get to go home free. You get to get out of jail free card.
Okay. Good point. Ray's out.
Ray is out. Very big.
Almost
wonder
3
if
years
he-
early.
If we went back to the ashtray house over on Park Island Drive.
I
Is
know
that
they
where
were
he is,
selling it. I'm
Tracy?
pretty sure that's gone by now. But
Yeah,
who
that probably
knows?
would have been sold to defray expenses, I would think.
If not, if the feds didn't seize it.
Okay, does anybody know where he is? Jonathan Freilich, do you happen to know where he is?
Who, Megan?
Yeah.
Ray? Oh yeah, hold on. Ray,
Andrew.
they want to talk. Come on in here. Come on. No, it's
He
just a
would be the guy
podcast. Come
to
on.
get on the show here.
Yeah, just talk to him.
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
him
no, he's
drinking,
busy.
drinking a cocktail down at Trader Vic's. His hair was
What did they say why they let him out though? Does anyone know?
Yes, he served more
Because
than
of the COVID-19 scare in all of the federal penitentiaries.
Oh.
But
Releasing
they won't
low
let you.
offenders who aren't violent were the ones that they decided they could possibly release first. So he met the criteria and now he's home.
Wow. So
But the Tiger King has to stay in jail, right?
Well,
I only got up to episode 2 on that bullshit. Did any of you guys watch the whole thing?
Oh yeah.
Ashamed to
100%.
say, yes, I did. 100%.
I haven't seen any of it.
My
Absolutely,
wife
you
drugged
watched
me
it.
through it for about 2 episodes, and then I was in.
It was.
I got.
I
through
was
the
on
second
board from
episode. I'm
episode
like,
1.
I just don't care about
It
any
took
of
me a
these people. I wish the tigers would just fucking eat them.
Yeah, me too, the whole
They're
time.
so horrible, all those people. How could you sit there for hours and watch that stuff?
I think it was the
I'm
one
married and
thing
I love my wife
crazier
very
in the
dearly.
world than what's going on right
Yeah.
now. That
I
was
guess
my
it's
opinion on it.
sort of escapism.
Sure.
I've got a great show to recommend you, but first of all, let's talk about music. Joshua Ray Summy, you used to be, in case you guys don't know who Josh is, he was the leader of a band here in New Orleans called Hazy Ray. And Josh was one of our favorite guests on Happy Hour for a
Oh, you're
long
too
time.
kind.
And then for some reason, you decided to leave town. What precipitated that decision?
It was going to the 10-hour drive to visit Linda's parents a lot after we had our daughter. And then she got offered an amazing position from somebody she used to work with in New Orleans that moved to San Antonio. And she couldn't turn it down. And she followed me all over to play with Hazy Ray. It was only fair, right? that I started following her. So
Right. So what does she do? Isn't she's a nurse or something? Did I get that wrong?
No. She teaches 3rd grade.
Was
And
close.
she's also, let me turn that off. I don't know what that is. She's also grade team lead for that. And then she went through the relay program when it opened up in New Orleans, which is like, if any of you guys know teachers, y'all know that they always complain about administrators not being in the classroom. Well, they have like a program now where you can be in the classroom and get your master's degree. And since she was one of the first people to go through that, she now handles relay people while she's teaching and being a grade team lead and administering writing curriculum to like all the IDEA schools in San Antonio. It's nuts. She has like 1,000 jobs.
Does she get paid separately for each of them, or do they just expect you to do all that for the same money?
You bring up the point that I bring up. She gets paid for one of them, but she gets bonuses for all the other ones.
Okay.
So
So it was a good move. How's San Antonio? What's it like there compared to New Orleans?
I enjoy it. I enjoy it completely differently. Like to be like I was super depressed about the move. I was so sad about not being in New Orleans for like a year that I missed a lot of good things. But it's an old town. It's old like New Orleans is old, so there's a lot unique about it. I still hate being in the car though. I hate it. I hate driving. Like I miss New Orleans. You can walk and then catch a streetcar or a bus or bike.
You seem to be playing a lot. Is there a good music scene there? Can you make a good living doing it?
That is a hard question. There is a good music scene, several different ones, because it's a very sprawled city. And yes, you can make a living playing here.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
Josh, when I was living there in town, I didn't think that there was much of a music scene at all. We used to go up to Austin to see concerts instead. I mean, the only place.
It depends on what you're talking about. And these days, what you're talking about as a music scene very much exists. But like the first gig that I got there, I'd never played country music in my life, and then I got hired as a lead guitarist for a country band, which was interesting, and I had to learn a lot of music. And there's a heavy Tejano scene and a heavy country scene, and then now there's a heavy original music scene, which is all over the place. So they have everything now that I'm here, but I've heard stories of the time before. Are
you still playing the lead guitar in a country band?
No. As soon as I could afford to stop doing that, playing my own music, I stopped.
You just turned your back on those guys.
No. Honestly, I'm sure they were happy to get rid of me, but
they were.
I found replacements for myself.
All right, cool. Hey, so I see you playing a lot though out there.
Yeah. Trying to keep as busy
you want
as
to
possible.
play? Let's play us something while we're sitting around here with nothing better.
All right, let me turn the talent back on. Hold on.
Okay.
There's a talent button. Let me press it.
What is that exactly? You can turn
I
it
just
off and on.
reverb, man.
I'd love to get.
You guys want to hear an original or a cover? It doesn't matter to me.
We'd love to hear an original, so we don't get sued. That would be way better.
Oh,
you cover one of your own songs. It'll be great.
Cover one of my own songs. All right. This one I wrote in a songwriting group. For a songwriting group thing that I did that is run out of New Orleans inside of a quarantine open mic that I run. It's very confusing, but it's connected to New Orleans, so I'm going to do it. Anyways, it's called Dance. I hope you guys like it. I've been a new kid in brand new places, time that I can't describe. I've been an outcast among new faces. Every time that I close my eyes, it seems I'm an old man playing a young man's game. What's important is the man that I became. So I dance the way that I want to dance, and I move to the things that move me, and I play all the things that I want to play, with whom I want to play, because they bring me life. And every moon that you've ever been in, there's one who feels they don't belong. Whether they're loving encouragement, that one could be made strong and happy and useful and loving and peaceful. If you have the presence of heart, do not do them wrong. So I dance with whom I want to dance. When I do, I play all the things that she wants to play. And I smile at those who try to bring me down, 'cause they can't bring me down. No, the smile is in my heart. The smile is in my heart. The smile is in my heart. Together is where this all begins. Just doing for yourself is a hamster wheel we spin. So if your love is this thing that makes all this pain make a little bit more sense. So if you're a loner, you gotta let somebody in and dance the way that you want to dance.
to play with who you want to play. And you smile and those who try to bring you down, cause they can't bring you down when the smile is in your heart. 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 There you go.
Yes. Everybody's on mute, so you can't hear the applause. But if you're listening to this podcast and you're not watching this live, Joshua Ray Summy is a white guy. Which probably comes as a surprise, I think. If you are listening to this on Facebook Live or on some other format out there in the universe and you want to join us, you can click on the Zoom link underneath the picture and join us like David Wilkins has here. I see David. Hi, how are you doing? Uh-oh. I can't hear you. Any reason for that? Anybody know why?
There should be a button in
He
the
is
bottom left,
unmuted
right?
at this point.
Yeah, it looks like
Hey,
we should
David.
be able to hear you, David.
There's something on the bottom right of the screen that I had to click.
We'll come back to you.
You can't see the sign.
Yeah.
What?
No sound.
Okay.
It's a no sound sign. He can't see it. So.
Oh, no sound. Oh, Chris, thanks very much. It's pretty confusing with all these little squares of people up here at the same time. Anyway, Josh, that song was awesome. Thank you very much. Is that available anywhere to steal?
You can. I mean, technically, you can steal it right now. I wrote it like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, it's brand new, so it's not recorded anywhere yet.
No, it is on your podcast.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, thanks.
So I good job.
Was it inspired by being trapped at home?
I have one of those that I've written in quarantine, but no, it was inspired by my brother-in-law and his wife. They're very inspiring, and then watching them dance at their reception after their wedding was just like, that's when the music started, and then the quarantine happened, so I finished it.
That's cool. Most people don't use the words brother-in-law and inspiring in the same sentence. You're lucky if you've got a cool brother-in-law.
Oh, you know how everybody talks about their bad in-laws? We're the bad in-laws.
You're the brother-in-law is calling up to borrow the lawnmower.
My side of the family, we're the bad in-laws. We're good people,
Right.
but like, I married an amazing woman that was sired by amazing people. They're
Right.
like,
Have you ever been to a sex therapist?
no,
Ever considered going to one?
no, I didn't know it was a thing until today.
No.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Tracy, what could you tell, folks who may not be thinking about going, but like, what are some helpful tips for
Asking for a
the
friend.
general public?
Asking for a friend. So I work, like I said, with all sorts of different issues. So for individuals, if you're having concerns about your sexual health and functioning, right? So like any kind of difficulty with arousal or desire or out of control behaviors, right? I do hear a child in the background. Should I be talking about sex?
Is that your child?
She can't hear you.
Okay. Oh yeah, you have your headphones on.
Yeah, I've got headphones on. She can't hear you, so you can say
Well,
whatever.
I
you
have
want
mine
to
on
say.
too, for sure.
You never know. You never know. Parents they're all different.
Thanks
on
for checking, though. I
how they
appreciate
want
it.
to
Super
talk to their
considerate.
kids. Yeah, how they want to talk to their kids about sex. But when I guess, starting from a general place, in my training, I work with clients. I start with talking about a sexual health model, right? And it's like, what are these key components to sexuality? And there's all sorts of aspects that go into it, like biopsychosocial. Okay. So if those are any areas that you want to explore in your own sexuality, that would be a great place to look up a sex therapist, right? So for
Gotcha.
example, if you're having a hard time with, say, talking about your sexuality with your partner, go see a sex therapist. 'Cause
So that's males, everybody, men.
and women,
What do
and
you mean?
people who don't identify as male or female.
What do you mean by hard time talking about your sexuality? What does it exactly mean?
Like sexual communication comfort, right? So talking about your likes, your dislikes, fantasies, right? If
Are you
there's
talking
any,
about your sex life, like things you like to do sexually, or something else?
both.
Or like your needs for what it
Yeah.
is that you need to be fulfilled and happy sexually.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How many people that you come across don't know?
Bad choice of words.
Like,
Oh God! Oh,
Go
I got
ahead,
it.
Oh, what's your question? Oh gosh.
Did you not hear it?
No, I didn't hear
No,
it.
I didn't hear it either.
Oh,
sorry, that was my fault.
No, no worries, no worries. Humor is humor. You got to do it.
A tough audience.
How many people come in and don't know what they like? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, definitely. I have clients that come in and are like, I don't feel sexually attracted to anybody, and I don't really have this desire to want to build upon that. And then it's kind of, are we walking down exploring different sexual orientations, like asexuality kind of stuff, or all the other?
I was more referring to like what they like during sex, but that answers the
Oh
question.
yes, totally. Oh yeah, definitely. Like I still get boggled in my brain when I get couples that have waited until marriage to have intercourse, and they come to me like, we don't know what we're doing, help me. And it's like, I pretty much have
Good
to,
job, religion. You did it again.
Yeah, is that a religious? That's a good point. Is that a religious reason that people don't have sex in marriage?
Often.
So what religion are we talking about?
Crazy. Oh, I'm sorry.
usually Catholic. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Catholicism. Yeah.
Mhm.
I married
Why
into
don't they go to a priest
Catholicism.
about this?
I'm a bad Catholic then.
I'm also a bad guy.
Yeah. Not too strict on that side either.
It seems wrong. I don't think Catholics do that, because Catholics can do whatever they want as long as they ask forgiveness.
Ask for forgiveness.
Right.
Yeah, I
feel like
thought
it
the
must be
Catholic
like
schoolgirl was something
evangelicals.
completely different.
I don't know. I think that might be in New Orleans Catholics, because there's this thing called Catholic guilt that exists everywhere outside of New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans has installed some sort of Catholic guilt buffer to keep it
I
out.
don't know,
so
man.
I always appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Catholic schoolgirls were doing it all the time. Is that not true?
It's only mouth stuff for them.
That's not sex.
Kim was like, yeah.
Well, that's what I have teenagers,
So, Tracy-
and I've asked them all kind of questions about their friends, and their friends are saying if it's oral anal, it doesn't count. You're still a virgin.
Right. How are you going to define it? Right? Is it's not penile vaginal intercourse, then it counts, right?
So they're equating oral and anal now.
As okay.
Or as non-sex in their small minds.
To be
They're
clear,
non-sex.
Grant, they're talking about kids looking for loopholes, not the church officially.
This is not I thought they talking about the Pope here.
The Pope was like, hello.
I think that was handed down from the pontiff.
Yeah. I thought that was an encyclical of like a Friday. But so
I can't speak for the church. We did not get the emails between them and the saints, so I don't know.
But Tracy, is that typical that people would equate? I would have thought that one is, I mean, not physically, no pun, no joke intended here, but there's a long way away from anal to oral. But oral is pretty easy to accomplish. Anal would take a lot longer to get around to, I would think. But not these days. That's how
anatomically speaking, they're not that far apart.
That's how it was in my generation.
Depends. There's plenty of literature about it, man. I mean,
It's a new generation.
But I'm wondering.
It's different.
I mean, 20 years ago, we knew this girl that everybody referred to as Stinking Heather Lincoln, because
Is that a real name before we go any further?
she was a Baptist, but she also liked to party.
Oh goodness.
Stinkin' was her nickname. That
wasn't a real name, of course.
That is not subtle at all, for sure.
some of my
How
days
old were you? This
now
is
the
an-
conversation really hits like unpredictable.
This was in Alabama too, right?
Mississippi.
Let's get Heather on the phone, right?
Thank you very much.
We're talking about. What happened to Heather?
I don't know. I haven't really kept up with her.
Rock can find her for you in 5 seconds.
We got Heather on line 3
assistant
now.
DA.
Let's
Okay, so Tracy, what happens when you go to a party and somebody says, "What do you do?" Not that anyone ever says that hardly in New Orleans, but
Well, I tell you what, I have learned my lesson to lie to the person next to me on the airplane, because
oh yeah,
absolutely,
they will ask.
Talk your ear off.
and share way too much self-disclosure. I don't want to know.
Well, you can send them a bill after.
Yeah, you
I should.
Yeah, I know. You should just make it a side hustle when you're traveling.
Yeah.
How are you coping with this quarantine, though? Are you able to see clients?
Oh yeah, I'm still seeing clients. We just do it online.
Right.
The screen, pro or con? Like the screen being between you and your clients, pro or con?
I say con, just because I like having. You get so much more information and feedback when the person's sitting across from you. You can see body language. You can see the little details, and
Right.
I mean, but mental health is important, and people have to still need it. So
What does your husband do? He's in Houston currently.
he works for a. I can never describe what he does right. So he's a project manager for large industrial projects. So he works out in Houston and managing all sorts of different
So it's
things.
like a construction job?
Mm-hmm.
So what's it like when he tells the guys that his wife's a sex therapist?
I think he tells
Sounds like
me
you
they
need to
don't-
invite him on, Grant.
I don't really mind. Yeah, he'd come along.
You must have had that conversation, right?
Yeah, I don't know. My husband Dan, he's very supportive, and he's
Yeah, but
he's-
every guy would love to tell their friends that their wife is a sex therapist.
well, you have to ask him that. I don't know. I don't know how he describes it.
I was just wondering
I'm
what.
sure-
Not like
Sure,
she's
people
in
make
the
jokes of it.
bedroom guiding people, Grant. I mean, it's
No.
like when you really explicate it, it's not anywhere near as
It's
taboo or.
it just
I don't know.
sounds like it
That
just
was a
sounds like-
Catholic thing, though, at one point.
Hey, David, have we got you on?
I don't know. You tell me, I'm on.
Hey,
Yeah,
he's
God.
there.
David.
Damn you, Freilich.
David, nice to talk to you. It's interesting to see where you're calling from. You look like you're in the Situation Room somewhere.
I'm in the Codatorium up here in Birmingham, Alabama. So roll tide.
You're in Alabama as well.
That's where I got expelled from high school, baby.
David, what are you originally from New Orleans, or you just happened to stumble
I
on?
am not. I just stumbled across your happy hour and figured
Hey, this is excellent. Okay.
there's got to be a lot of interesting people in New Orleans.
You're looking at all of them.
David, I like your gender he him on your name there. I should do that.
Do nowadays, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an outlier in Alabama from that standpoint. But got to do what you got to do.
You're an outlier in the sense that most people don't identify as a man.
As that most people don't identify as somebody that respects other people's
Who
identity.
cares about pronouns?
That sounds like Alabama for sure.
So tell us about where you are. You're in some sort of a wood-paneled room with a big whiteboard behind you with an
I'm
American.
in the I'm in my work area. I'm in my Codatorium. I'm a software developer. So
Can you
this is where-
can you speak up a
where
little
magic-
bit or something, or turn up?
maybe so. I don't know if you can hear me any better now. I don't know what's wrong with my mic today.
I don't know.
It's really, really good. So,
But I couldn't catch the word. Did you say codatorium?
I said Codatorium. Yeah.
Does anyone here know what a codatorium is?
I think
get it right away.
It's the room in which he codes.
He writes codes.
I was about to say, is it the room where you perform codes?
It's where I work every day. So, it's just
So you're
where
a
everything's set up.
you're a coder.
I am a software developer. Yeah, which is another thing that you don't want to tell somebody that you do. Sitting
Oh, yeah.
beside them in the plane, they'll dig out some old crusty Windows laptop and say, "Can you fix this?"
Yeah, everybody wants to know someone who can fix their computer for them.
Man, I was totally going to ask him if he
Yeah.
could fix this.
What happened to Andrew Duhon? There you are. Andrew, how's it been going this week? Have you been playing?
Yeah. Excuse me. I haven't done a live stream, but I've just been doing the little quarantine songs is my plan. Just releasing new songs as videos.
They sound good, man. I've been watching.
Thanks. Right on.
Does anyone watch the Jazz Fest stuff?
You
I
mean
didn't know they were doing anything.
I was
The,
listening to
the-
it on OZ.
Well, the festing in
Festing at
place.
home?
Yeah, I've been
Yeah, that was
listening
on
to
OZ.
it, not watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
that's
festing in
funny.
place.
Did you watch it, Kimmy?
pretty-
I mean,
pretty
listen
cool.
to it.
Yeah, that's been pretty cool.
I thought it was sort of depressing.
Oh,
No.
Feels
You know,
good.
I was just-
That's exactly why I
maybe
haven't looked
miss
for it.
Jazz Fest
I just want to
more.
be there.
I will say I was a little depressed because the weather was perfect.
Oh, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Best
For
Jazz Fest
Thursday.
weather
I
in
could
history.
think of is this
Yeah.
was a perfect Jazz Fest weather. We even had a
Sure
little
was.
rain Friday in true jazz
Yeah.
fashion.
That's right.
And I
heard,
thought today too it was perfect because there was a gigantic hailstorm on the Wednesday,
Yeah.
just in time for everyone to panic and get the tents back up in time for Thursday and make it all dramatic.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect.
Yep.
But anyway, Andrew,
Hey,
you
did
wanna play
anyone
something
notice that
today?
on last Friday, Old Habits Die Hard here in New Orleans, they still had a plane circling the fairground with the banners going?
Oh no! Wow.
They totally
Hey.
did.
Oh
Sure.
God.
Hey, essential.
What did it say? Lowe's is by the track, or
I probably, I don't know. I was all the way uptown
Really?
and couldn't see it, but could just see that it was in, that neck of the woods doing
Was it-
laps at about
was it
1 p.m.
I guess someone forgot to cancel that. And when the
Yeah, I
dude
paid
went
for
up
this
anyway.
thing. Let's do it.
Monique Piles here, our music producer. Hey, Monique, how's it
Hi.
going? If you
Hi,
guys want to see
everybody.
something great on Facebook,
Hi.
go to Monique Piles' page and look at the photos of the food she's been making at home for the last week.
I know. Sorry, I came late because I was making egg noodles today.
Oh my
Awesome.
God!
I'm going to your page right now.
Check it out. Pyle. Okay,
You
Andrew,
both.
grab a guitar. What do you got there? Excellent. Okay. Hey, you want to play? You want to play something? And then afterwards, I want to talk to you guys about contact tracing. I want someone to explain that to me. Andrew, what are you thinking of playing here?
Contact tracing.
Yeah,
Yes.
This just sounded like some sort of bad infomercial pitch or something right there.
It's Dianetics.
Are you not familiar with contact tracing, Thomas? Because you're going to be pretty soon.
Never heard of it. No.
Are you
You sound like
serious?
the. Does anyone remember the Encyclopedia Britannica guy in the 90s?
Remember me?
Yes, I do.
Contact
Flashback
tracing
to
is
that.
going to be the biggest thing ever.
After brass rubbing.
After
Brass rubbing.
Well, now I'm intrigued, but I
rubbing.
want to hear this song.
Okay.
Looking it up right now.
Brass rubbing is when you get like a bit of tracing paper and you get a pencil and trace over the
Yeah, nice.
thing on the brass thing, right on the, what would that be called?
Or the tombstone.
Bread is
Yeah.
my favorite.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, contact tracing is
It's related close enough by title.
Contact tracing is something different completely. Andrew, what are you thinking of playing?
Man, I ain't quite figuring this one out yet, but I'm gonna play it for you anyways. This is a song. I'm just a frustrated man right now, and I had to write a song about it. I told you 100 different times, 100 different ways. You don't listen to a word I say, baby. You know you got to quit feeding them strays now. Got to quit feeding them strays, baby. You got the cats and dogs wrapped around my feet. You got the back porch smelling like potted meat. How you think you ended up with a mangy old man like me? Oh, Lord, you got to quit feeding them strays, baby. Yeah, every time I try to walk across the lawn to get to my car for a Sunday cruise, I got to stop and clean off the both of my shoes. Should've known I was in trouble when you started to give them names. Oh, baby, you got to quit feeding them strays, boy. I guess you're just too good. Yeah, your heart is too good for your own good. I believe your heart is too good. Heart is too good for your own good. You got the cats and dogs wrapped around my feet. You got the back porch smelling like potted meat. How you think you ended up with a mangy old man like me? You got to quit feeding them strays, baby.
Yeah, very nice. Once again, everybody's muted, so you can't hear the applause. It's an interesting concept.
My self-doubt has complete confidence that.
Okay.
Andrew,
Did you just
your
come up-
music is the perfect background for gawking at Monique's calzones. That's
Just
amazing.
come up with that in the interim of in the quarantine period.
What? That idea?
Yeah.
No. I came
Where's
up
that
with
from?
it when my girlfriend was living uptown, and her landlords were feeding cats at blatant disregard for the fact that you would walk out and there'd be possums on the porch and all kinds of different
Holy
miscreants.
shit.
Dude, I went to City Park this past week, and a raccoon has become so accustomed with people coming there to lunch that it like came down from the trees at 1 p.m. and just started like begging for food for people.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's
Where in
nuts.
City Park? I'm gonna go find him.
Right behind like Storyville, that little like
Oh,
play
yeah.
place for
I know what you're talking
kids.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like
His
this
name's
really
Harvey.
wonderful shaded park
Babe, you
with
should
all
see
these
these
park
crepes.
benches. And they were it was just it came down and got like 2 feet away from my kids, and I was like, oh, this is amazing, but we're about to get rabies, so we need to take a step back.
Asher wasn't there and didn't shoot it.
No.
So
I haven't ever eaten a raccoon. I don't think.
You're
they
missing out.
do eat raccoons up in Cajun country, I believe. So is nobody here familiar with this contact tracing concept then, really, for real?
Yeah,
No,
I know what it is.
relatively.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to describe exactly what you think it is?
Who?
Asher, you know what it
Me?
is, right?
Yeah, well, it's when if you find out that if you test someone for coronavirus and then you find out that they've got COVID-19, then you find out all the people that they've been in contact with recently, and then you test all of them as well, and then you find out who they might have been in contact with recently, and then you start to narrow down who the like patient zero is, and then you like find these people that have it, and you make them isolate so that they don't spread it around.
Right.
anymore.
That's the whole point. So that
Kind of like in New Rochelle, what they did.
they've been
Yeah.
doing that already?
What is
Yeah,
that?
in New Rochelle, New York, when they found out this one guy, this lawyer had got it, and then he went into his synagogue and gave it to people, and they kind of traced it all back, and then they like kind of barricaded a portion of the city.
Okay, so this is what the government.
And there's an
They
instance
do it with a lot of epidemics. I mean, it's not the first time. As long as the
Yeah.
AIDS.
Yeah, they were doing it. They were doing it in
Ebola.
Seattle too. Some scientists got in trouble for it. I think it was an interesting story. I didn't fact
But
check.
that's
it
the
or
way
anything,
to
but they
deal
were-
with
deal this.
The difference is
To
here
eradicate it.
this time is that if you get named by somebody, so suppose Ashley, you get tested positive, and then you go, and then they ask you who you've seen in the last X number of days or weeks, and you mention everybody on this broadcast, not that we're in the same place, any of us, then all of us have to stay home for 2 weeks.
Yeah, or I think at least get tested. It happened to my aunt and uncle, actually. They were going to church right before this whole thing kind of started to be like an American problem. And like they were, their entire church got it. They're like, there was a big outbreak.
Which religion is this?
They're like, assembly of God. I don't know. Whatever.
That was good
The
delivery.
Yeah. They're like, with the reason that it happened, apparently, at least all of them are convinced, is because they had this group of missionaries come through. They were like a traveling choir. And my aunt and uncle got really sick. They got tested. It was COVID. Like then the pastor got sick and he was on a ventilator, wound up with COVID. And like, so they have been making them take like weekly tests before they're going to allow them to get back out. Like
And
apparently
did they
they
believe that it came from Satan or anything?
No, they believe that it came from the missionaries.
The missionaries of all people.
Yeah.
Okay, so have they had to stay home? All of those people had to be isolated for 2 weeks?
Oh yeah, yeah, and my aunt and uncle even more. They were sick for longer than that, and continued to test apparently positive. Somehow they can tell when people are shedding the virus, I guess. So, yeah, even when they were feeling better, they were still like, "No, it hasn't been long enough. You're still showing positive."
Well, so the plan, I believe, is then if this is some nationwide plan, is that we're going to hire hundreds of thousands of contact tracers who are going to be let loose in every state. And then this is the plan so that we can go back to work. So that only people who have to stay home and isolated like this, like we all are people who have been ratted out by somebody.
I got a little small poll right here. Who else besides me would point the finger at everyone that they hate and keep them at home for 2 extra weeks? Because I would definitely do
Oh my
that
God.
for sure.
The Salem witch trials all over again.
The only vindictive people here, Thomas, are you and Kimya, apparently.
Nice.
I did send them to all of my exes.
Yeah.
All of my exes.
Yeah, Kimya, last time you were on the show, you told us about your husband.
He would be the first person on my list.
That was a great story. If you want to go back and listen to this show back in our archives, it's called You're Gonna Regret This.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Kimya, you should tell Tracy the story.
Yes.
This is a great story. Can you do it in a couple of sentences?
Yeah, I can do it in a few sentences. I was married to a firefighter. He's a captain in the New Orleans Fire Department. And he was also in the military. So in my mind, he cheated. In his mind, he said it wasn't cheating because he met someone online in Ghana and was sending money and having all of these long, sexual conversations and emails and stuff like that. And I told him it was probably a guy. Right. So I found the computer with all of the messages on it, so forth and so on. So yeah.
Ooh. So wait, is this the current husband or is this now?
Oh no, he's the ex-husband.
He's
the last husband. Ex-husband gone.
Okay. Oof. Yeah.
Well, you must have seen this story before, Tracy. I'm sure, right?
In various different flavors. Yeah.
Do people come to you to try and repair a relationship that's been through something like this?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Infidelity, right? Polyamory is a little different because that's more of a ethical non-monogamy where everybody's on the same page and they have
Polyamory is an agreement to begin with. The cheating is the opposite, right?
Right, exactly. And you have to define what you mean by cheating. Like in your ex-husband's mind, it's like, well, that wasn't cheating. Like I didn't touch the other person. But if you're spending money and exchanging like emotional, having a secret relationship, that can be cheating, right? There's a violation that happens there.
What if they don't send romantic messages and it's only anal?
Let's ask the Pope.
Yeah, ask the Pope.
Full circle, I love it.
That's a fair question. How do you repair trust like that, though?
Small steps every day. Steps every day.
Can you come back from something like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. So often when I start working with couples that have had like an infidelity or some breach of trust like that, I'll tell them to read some work by Esther Perel. Have any of you ever heard of her?
Oh yeah, I think she's wrong.
Oh, you do?
Wow.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Straight up.
I think she's flat out working on a central delusion that creates unhappiness for people, ultimately.
What is the delusion?
Tell us what you really think, man.
It's complicated.
Don't hold
It's complicated, but it's funny because somebody recommended I really look at it, and I did. And I met women that I may or may not have been, but so I've looked at it pretty carefully. But I think it actually deals with a central delusion that I think is actually creating unhappiness for people ultimately. But I think that they believe in it right now because it's one of those things where she's got a very good business.
Oh yeah, totally. She's a great speaker.
Now I'm super curious. How do you spell this name?
Tracy, what is the central concept of Esther Perel's belief?
Well, one of her main books is Mating in Captivity, and she takes a look at how couples, like monogamy couples, are. How do you have that desire even though you have this long-term relationship? Like you can't have. The idea is like you can't have this lust and desire for somebody who you know so well and have the security with. So how do you create that longing and that mystery with that partner that you have, right? And so she's got some good TED Talks. You can look at that text about
Mating in
infidelity.
Captivity.
Yeah, mating in captivity.
Wait, so the question is, how do you keep that desire? But what's the answer?
So she talks a lot about creating this distance with your partner and having that space. Right, which is hard to do right now if you're stuck in the house with your partner constantly for the quarantine. But looking at your partner in a different light, like I see that person's like hitting on my partner. They see something different, right? Or I used to see that person that way, like that mindset. Like how do I create that eroticism space with my partner?
So is the central concept that you Freilich think is erroneous is that you can't have that kind of attraction with someone that you're so familiar with?
No, you can. That's what she's saying, is that you can.
So the
You can
central
go back.
failure in it is this. In most relationship problematics, in most relationships, you have a situation where the false image that I have of you falls in love with the false image that you have of me. And then after a long time, this begins to crumble. What she's advocating is that you come up with false images of each other again, which is completely batshit crazy ultimately. And I mean, I'm not trying to go against you. I'm just saying that is as a fantasy that will create that just recreates pain. What you're doing is suggesting that you're looking for something to create pleasure for you.
Yeah.
Right. I want this as an immediate pleasure, which will ultimately give you the same pain again.
So I like that you said the word fantasy, right? Because that's all that it is it's in your brain. You can choose which fantasy you want to have. Do I want to fantasize about the porn that I'm watching? Or do I want to try to fantasize about my partner?
Yeah, well, you could do either, but the problem of it is that it's still a fantasy. So the problem is whether or not it's the case. The problem is that the initial crack came from the fact that you got committed to a fantasy about who the other person was. Now, anything that's advocating again that you should quickly get into having another false image of the person, of people, creating false images of each other is going to lead to pain. And when really the disillusionment that happened the first time is probably a good thing. But the question is at what level it really is what level you think. It's definitely about what level of importance you think it is. I mean, we're living in a reality now where a lot of people think that having a haircut and doing their nails is more important than life. So I don't know. I mean, under that consideration, people are choosing very non-thought out pleasures in place of another thing. And I think the action, since most of the actions of sexuality are being acted on, but pre-consciously, right? Anyway, whatever. I don't need to carry on. You're the psychologist. I'm not a psychologist. I'll let you go on, but I'll just tell you that I've broken it apart a lot of ways. I had to respond to Esther Perel.
That's fine. that's fine. And that's just one approach for some people who want to hold a monogamous relationship orientation, right? And if that's the model that's going to work for them to get that connection back and to use that fantasy or that brain tricking or that connection, fine. If that's what you want. It might not work for other people.
I think it's fine. I just think it's not going to work. It's a good idea. It'll work temporarily. There may be a few orgasms in there,
You're saying it has.
If that's your only goal, then I guess sure.
It has the seeds of its own demise in there because it's constructing another fantasy that was the problem in the first place. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
What is your response to that, Tracy? Is that true?
I don't know. I got lost.
I got an idea. It's kind of an interesting idea
Thomas,
about metaphysics because, almost in a way, like my conception of my wife might not add up to what her conception of herself is, and her conception of me might not add up to what my conception of me is anyway. Right. So aren't you always just kind of doing a song and dance, but trying to figure out who the other person is anyway?
All we have is our own experiences.
I think if you put together the fact that you fell in love with an illusion of your partner, and now the truth is that they are batshit crazy and completely unlovable, the best path forward is a new illusion.
And you can do that with someone else if you want.
Or you can crazy and completely unlovable.
Your current partner.
Right. So,
I'm just writing
but her
down
big promise,
crazy and completely unlovable, Andrew. That's excellent.
But her big thing is today now our idea of relationships and monogamy is you have that one person that can fulfill everything, right? This is your best friend, your confidant, your lover, your shared child rearing person, whatever, and it's all put onto that, and that's not realistic.
Exactly. So you're trying to reinsert the image again in order to try to invent for yourself that's realistic by inventing some shit about sexuality. I mean, okay, fair enough. But I mean, I think that's what I'm saying. It leads ultimately to either a reorganization of the same unhappiness or the same unhappiness.
Or a
Jonathan,
reorganization that brings different happiness.
Jonathan, what pushed you toward reading and delving into this stuff?
Oh, it's been suggested to me by people I've been in relationships with. What do you?
That's what I'm getting at.
I knew that was coming.
How'd they work out? Did it work out?
What work out? They're suggesting that I read it?
No, well, you obviously did take the suggestion. No, the actual relationship.
It depends how you look at relationships. I mean, for me, they're all in a state of development. And all the relationships you have with everybody that you have in your life are in a state of a development. If you perform a categorization of them or a setting out of what they are in relation to my idea of what they should be and ideas that are prevalent in the society about what they should be, you will prevent them from developing. And I'm not going to play that game. But I will look into them because I take people seriously that are presenting me with the ideas. So
if you let go of expectations, you can have a lot happier life.
I would agree with that, and it's very hard to do. But the more work you do on that, I mean, you're going to go through a lot of disillusionment, but disillusionment's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Josh, before we get out of here, do you have a song that ties us all together?
I got a couple that are very, very loosely related in that they're about sex.
What about the quarantine song?
Well, actually, hang on.
Can you play "Lick My Love"?
Actually, you know what? I've got one that I never get to play because most of my audiences have kids in them then they're at their restaurants because that's what's paying here in San Antonio. I've played this on here though, so I don't want to do that one because I've played that song on this show before. Okay. So yeah, I'll do the quarantine one. I got super jealous of all the folk pickers out there. Andrew knows what I'm talking about because he's amazing at it. The people will keep the beat with their thumb like this.
Listen to Freilich, dude.
Like this, and do something different with their fingers. I've always been super jealous of that and never really had the time. But quarantine, so I had the time. But turns out I'm really bad at just repeating stuff, which is how you practice anything. So I had to write a song while I was doing it to learn how to pick like this. And so this is the hypothesis of why I never picked like this, why I never did folk, why I never did country. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's called Cowboy Chords and Picking. I forgot to turn the talent on. Yes, ma'am. Show me in a minute.
It was a short song, but I think you've mastered it.
Sorry, I had a dad too. Cowboy chords and picking are things I never learned, or stories of ignorance and other things I'd heard about the folks in those old movies who look so much like me. The young boy inside my mirror had enough hate in him for me. So we moved into the city. I was scared as scared could get. All the hatred in this country between folks who never met. When everybody is different and no one gets along, how can there be a happy ending to this song? Thank God I had it wrong. I just miss the good parts all alone. For everything you hear ending with a tear, and there's a million human beings doing things to make tomorrow better. Cowboy chords and picking, they are a part of me that I've hidden or forgot a light about not having, 'cause I'm ashamed
of sins that may or may not be in the family tree. Wasted energy I could use to be the change I want to see. Oh, thank it wrong. I just miss the good parts all along. For everything you hear, ending with a tear. There's a million human beings doing silent things to make tomorrow better. So I move my right thumb back and forth to keep a simple beat, while the fingers on that same hand try to make it something sweet. As I learn to be the best damn father that I could ever be, and teach my girl to build her bridges when walls are too easy. Oh, thank God I had it wrong. I just miss the good parts all along. For everything you hear, ending with a tear. There's a million perfect things like love and songs we sing. I guess I had it wrong. I swear I'll look for good from now on. For everything you hear, ending with a tear. Stop, take a breath and sing, and do a silent thing to make tomorrow better. And that's for all of our essential people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh Ursami, thank you very much. Okay. That was a worthwhile COVID quarantine occupation there. Do you feel like you've mastered that, whatever the hell that is, finger
It's
picking?
so hard. Absolutely not. I don't play with the pick, and I play with my fingers my whole life, but I've never listened to folk or country until I moved back to Texas. And I grew up in Texas. I just never cared for it. And
You're from Texas originally?
No, I'm from South Carolina. Hence the family tree thing. I know there's crap in there. But I grew up in Texas, and there was always country. And I'm one of those people that's like, when everybody says, hey, you do this thing, the more people that tell me to do this thing or check it out, the more instinctively obstreperous I become.
Right.
I don't want to do it because a lot of people tell me to try this or look at this or watch this. And
Well, supposing that not everybody's like you, where would we direct people to find you?
you can find, if you put at JRSUM1, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram.
At JRSUM1.
Yeah, and then it's been 5 years since Hazy Ray put out the EP that I wrote about me and my wife. So for the 5th anniversary, we're putting it up on everything. So that's going on Spotify on Hazy Ray's Spotify on May 2nd. So
Oh, that's nice. It'd be good to see Hazy Ray back up there
Yeah.
again. Okay. Well, thanks and continued good luck out there in San Antonio. And we can see you back here as long as this quarantine
Oh, the
continues.
first thing
and
I'm doing when it lifts, I'm going to New Orleans.
Come back. Yes, definitely come back. Josh, thanks for joining us here on Happy Hour today.
Of course.
Been
Thank you
great
for
to
having
see
me.
you. Kimia
good to see
Holmes, where are you? Thank you so much for coming back. This hour seems to go by so quickly.
It does.
It's been great
Thank
to
you
see
for
you.
having me.
Good luck with the anal versus oral over at your house. Looking forward to catching up on how that works out in the near future.
I'll keep you posted.
Talking of which, Tracy Carlson, thank you too for being here.
Thank you. It's
Very
nice to meet
interesting.
all of you.
Suppose that we wanted to get some sort of help with our sex life. Where do we find you?
You can go to my website. It's myconnectionswellness.com.
myconnectionswellness.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Okay, who am I missing out thanking here? David Wilkins from Alabama, thanks for stopping by. Very nice to see you. Jonathan Freilich, one of the great guitar players in the city of New Orleans. Jonathan, what the hell are you doing with yourself? I didn't even ask
what you up to?
My life hasn't changed very much. The world's mostly come around to my way of living.
You're playing all the time, though. Where are you playing now?
In my house. I have a big band, so we play in close quarters for naked twister parties. No, I'm just joking. We don't. No, we. I mostly hang
Sounds
around
like a
my
good
house.
time, though. I mean,
yeah, it does, right? Right. I hang around writing music whenever I feel like it, and I'm producing 3 podcasts right now. So
Nice.
I interview podcasts. So I spend a lot of time interviewing musicians and talking about film and stuff like that.
Okay, so tell us where to find them. One of them I follow.
Yeah. Okay. So, I have my old one that's been going on for 10 years called Interviews with Notable New Orleans Musicians. That's on my website or on iTunes. And then I do another one for Banjo Studio podcast where I interview great songwriters and instrumentalists, banjo players, much more high profile people actually that I've been doing recently. And that's been a lot of fun. And then I have a film podcast with Henry Griffin, who's a filmmaker, where we.
I love Henry.
Yeah, well, we do film reviews and conversations on film. So I'm putting all.
Well, you are busy. That's a lot of work each
Give
week.
us one recommendation to watch something during the quarantine.
Watch. You know what? Henry pulled one out the other day for the one that we have upcoming. It's very good, called The Tree of Wooden Clogs. And it's a really great film if you've not seen it. And I'm taking a look. You all haven't seen it. Beautiful movie.
Tree of Wooden Clocks. Okay, that's a great way to go out. And especially thank you to Christopher Roth this week for helping us put this whole thing up on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Can I be self-serving for a second?
Yes.
There's
Who
a couple
said that?
musicians on here. I'm also running a quarantine open mic live on Facebook. Really? And I would love to see Andrew and Freilich on there and whoever else plays. It's 15 minutes. Do whatever you want. And there's 2,200 people that'll see you that might not know who you are.
Wow. All right. Well, how do I find out about that?
Just Facebook, look up quarantine open mic, and there's one that isn't live. That's not mine. The one that says live in parentheses is mine.
You managed to get an audience of 2,200 people to each one of these shows. It's pretty impressive.
Dumb luck. That's
great. Just cool. Quarantine open mic live on Facebook. All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We'll see you allegedly back here next week, I suppose, given that we're all still alive. For another week, our producer is Graham DePonte. Our music producer is Monique Pyle. Thomas Walsh is our technical director. Andrew Searock is our digital producer. And our Facebook live feed director is Asher Griffith. Christian Unreal is our music consultant. Our theme music was written and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show, you can stay upright for an hour while drinking your own alcohol at home. Drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com. You can check out our other happy hours there, as well as some other shows that we're still making around here, including Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker, and our award-winning podcast about death called Death the Podcast. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and it's batonrouge.la. You can keep up with us between shows on a bunch of time-sucking social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can find those links on our website, itsneworleans.com. And you can find photos from this show, believe it or not, on itsneworleans.com and on our It's New Orleans Happy Hour Facebook page and Instagram account. These photos are taken today by Jill LaFleur, and you can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. If you listen to this on your favorite podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. If your podcast app has a share function, try telling a couple of your friends about Happy Hour. The show was recorded live today on Zoom. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Andrew Duhon, all of our Happy Hour crew who are marooned in their houses and here on Zoom today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you next week for more Happy Hour.
Great episode.
Great show. Thanks, everybody.
Very good, everybody. Thank you.
That was good.
Yes, good show. Kim, your thanks.
Peace out, everyone.
Andrew, look at that. Nice.
Bye, Andrew. See you.
Bye.
Wow. That's a great idea.
Just came up with it. I
That's a
don't know.
good effect.
Yeah.
If we all did it,
I can't see what happens when I do it though.
wow, that is cool.
Thanks for coming on today, Tracy.
Bye.
All right,
You
everybody,
guys later.
joke's over.
Thanks for
Hey,
having us.
Thomas, don't forget my correct email address.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Chris, thanks for helping us with the broadcast. Now that it's
No
just
problem.
the regular cast and crew, how'd you feel about that? Graham, you much